wonderful introduction. I'm really humbled by that. And I don't think I can add more. All I can say is that what Caroline has said is true. She has not added anything or removed, but I'm aware of many hats, including that on our tour operator. And therefore, I pride myself in the tribe of women, knowing that from here, we'll be able to go further. Before I set into today's session, I would like to take this opportunity to thank SheTrade for their support for women entrepreneurs, and particularly during this difficult moment to many. And when I say that, I look at the various trainings that we have undertaken during this moment of crisis, COVID-19. In addition, beginning of the week, we had the crisis management toolkit that was unveiled to us. And this will help us in proactively coming up with a recovery plan. I would like to assure and reassure those who are on this meeting that major strategic tools like the one that was unveiled, the scenario planning, the risk mapping to anticipate the right response are very crucial for a moment like this. And they are not just crucial, but we need living documents. Living documents are the ones that are changed per time, and the ones that have a plan B, contingency plans, and that is what was unveiled to us in the beginning of the week. Our topic today is on mindset. The mindset to navigate current crisis and to succeed beyond the crisis. So what is mindset? What is a mind? We know that we have something in between our ears, something that is taken care of by the skull. And somebody said that your mindset determines your success or your failure. And it is the most powerful tool that we have on the earth. So let's move on. And I'm sure that by the end of this session, we'll be able to change our mindset. We'll be able to navigate through this crisis, and we will come out differently from how we were. We are in it together, but I normally say that character is unveiled in times of challenges. So the challenge of COVID-19 is what is unveiling your character. So what is it? What do you have? How can you be able to move on from where you are now? I'm trying to scroll my, okay, I've managed. So what is fear? Fear is merely an illusion, but a very persistent one. And it all depends on how you look at it. We can all be looking at the same thing, but seeing very different perspectives of the same. But fear is not real. That is the beauty of it. Fear is not real. What is real is danger, but fear is a choice. What choice do you make? As Will Smith has put it on this particular slide, Will Smith is an American actor and a rapper. He says that the only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. What are you anticipating? What are you waiting for? It is a production of our imagination, causing us to fear what to do at present, and it may not ever exist. So the fear, what you're fearing, may not come to pass, but the worst of it is that it is near insanity, and that is why you hear a lot of mental wellness cases going on, particularly at this period where everyone is affected or infected. And at this juncture, I would like to relate with all of us in the tourism industry. I am in it. And we all know that they are saying that it is the worst hit. We don't need them to say we have experienced it firsthand, but it is our mindset that will make us move away from where we are and move on. So in this session, we are going to look at how we can consciously navigate the crisis. Consciously navigate it because your true identity is revealed during crisis and also is the one that is in trial now. We had the CS of tourism in one of the webinars who said that we need the right mindset for clients and products. And it is also important for us to know that what distinguishes those who succeed from those who fails is all in the mind. So what are we saying here? How do we consciously move from where we are to where we are going? Life is a journey and our businesses are a journey. And for us to navigate through this, we need a compass. A compass that will be showing and taking us to the right direction. And somebody said that if you are not in the right direction, no matter how big the steps you take towards the wrong direction, you'll never be able to get where you were going. So it is important for us to have the right framework, the right navigator for us to be able to move to where we are going. And this navigator can only be done with the mind. It is the mind that will take us where we are going. And somebody have said that attitude is everything. How you look at things determines what you get. And it's important for us also to understand that this mind, we have control. It is a choice, and we have the right to make a choice. And this one, nobody can ever deny it from us. So it is you to make a choice on your mind. So we've been working so hard, digging, moving towards the gold, year in, year out. And as you move on to this gold, we've been telling ourselves that one day, one time, we will get there. And then all of a sudden, when we are almost there, we are giving up. I don't know how many of us feels like they're giving up. I am here to tell you that we should not give up. It is not time to give up. There is hope. And that it will be determined by your mindset. So what next? Life can be likened into a boxing game. And we all know that in a boxing game, and please, whoever is doing the drawings on the slides should stop. So we all know that in a boxing game, defeat is not declared when one has fallen down. Defeat is only declared when you refuse to get up. So we are down. How do you get up? When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves, and everything can be taken from man apart from the choice that we make, the freedom to choose. So it's important for us to choose our attitude in any given circumstance because that is what will enable us move out of this crisis. And this is by Viktor Franklin. Before we move on, it's important for us to understand also the law of constant change. Now, I don't know who drew this and I don't know how to come out of it, but I hope we'll be able to continue and the person will not draw any further.
I agree. Could we just try maybe to reshare the screen? Maybe it'll restart everything.
And let me start it again. Okay, yes. So the law of constant change. We know that the only constant thing in life is change. We always keep changing, no matter what is happening. And change can be in terms of form, in terms of content, in terms of context, in terms of the processes and everything else that can change. And we always tell people that even death is a change because you're moving from one status to the other. So the law of constant change says that everything in the universe is in the process of changing, and so you are. Biologically, I know you have seen yourself growing. In terms of your business, you have seen yourself from start to where it is now, and that is a process of change. It goes on to say that you will change whether you like it or not, because you cannot remain the same. Whether you like it or not, you cannot remain as you are. You need to change. And why is it that you require this change? Why is it that you need to move from where you are to where you're going? This one can be used to our advantage by only recognizing it. The law of constant change says that the minute you recognize the change and you are able to move from there, then you have the right mindset to navigate that particular change. And after we recognize, it is important for us to actively participate in it. So what have you been doing during this particular time? Have you actively been participating in the change that is taking place? And here, when I talk of change, I mean the COVID-19. Whatever is happening, how active have you been in your business? How active have you been? Let's look at the 3 C's of change. What can bring change? Nothing changes if you change nothing. If things stays the way they are, then they will stay the way they are, but then remember, it is a choice, and therefore you'll have the consequences of the same. And when we talk of consequences, there is success and there is failure of that business that you have come up with. So the 3 C's of change, we are talking of chance. Change can be brought about by chance. And when we talk of chance, we are looking at our environment, the political component, the economical component. The society changes. We have the technology that has changed things. So how are we embracing and working on this change that has been brought about by chance? Are we using it to our advantage or to our disadvantage? How are we looking into it? Then we have the next C, which is by choice. On Monday, we were taken through the tools, the crisis management toolkit. Will you make a choice to go out there and develop these scenarios that we were taught? Then when you develop them, will they just be documents, or do you work on them to ensure that you actualize? We all have business plans. We all have had previous plans, but things have changed. Whatever we had planned for this year, things have changed. It is not going to be the same. So which choices are you making? All this, as we can see, is dependent on the mind. And the last C is crisis. Change brought about by a crisis. And this is what we are going to look into today. And this crisis, we are talking of 3 different ways into how it can hit you. Some of us, the crisis that is there, COVID-19, it could be feeling like a feather. Crises have various ways of hitting us. There's a feather-like, very light crisis, something that you just wake up, brush off, and move on. It could also hit you like a brick. And when I talk of a brick, I talk of something that will hit you and might break down. You'll be bruised, you'll be hurt, but you can still move on. It's not yet over. You're the one to determine when it's over. Then the other crisis that could hit you could be like a bus. Imagine yourself being hit by a bus, not even a small car. It could be fatal, or it could leave you in ICU, or it could even leave you in a ward. But in all this, we can see the extent of crisis. So how far are we, and how are we able to take it up? We are the one to create our own reality in this crisis, because there is no unprecedented formula. As much as this crisis have brought us a change, we have heard people saying that we don't know what to do. Doctors have said they don't know what to do. Leaders of nations, they don't know what to do. Even us in business, we don't know what to do. So it is us to come up with our own reality, a reality that has never been there, reality that has not been tried and tested, but depending on our mindset, we'll be able to actively carve that change that we need for our business. Crisis will be affecting so many things, not just our businesses. It will affect our health. It will affect our relationships. It will also affect the economy in general. And this is where your role comes in. How are you going to act against this crisis? What kind of reactions are there to this crisis change? From the researches that has been carried out, it has been realized that people react differently to change, but then it is you to visualize your life, the life that you want to have. And these 4 reactions, we'll discuss them one by one. One of it is victim, where one reacts as a victim, not knowing what to do. How many of us stayed in bed for a day or two, not even knowing where to turn? Being a victim, not sure of what to do. The other one is a tail chaser. Tail chaser. Not knowing what to do, but you're just going round and round. You're not coming up with anything constructive. You are inadequate in yourself, and therefore you're just going in circles. And this is where the problem comes in, where we start going round and round, and we are not even seeking for help. And as we have heard from Angela's presentations, cabin fever is real. So when you decide to react like a tail chaser, and here I would like you to imagine a dog that is chasing its own tail. So it's just going round because it's from the mouth to the tail. If you decide to stay there, not knowing what to do, going in circles, feeling inadequate, not asking for help, then this is going to give many issues to do with health problems. The other reaction is a forcer. A forcer is one who takes small steps at a time. Small steps at a time. And as I had said, it's better for you to take the small steps to the right direction than taking big steps to the wrong direction. The 4th kind of reaction to crisis change is leader. A leader is the one that is resilient and has a way out. And why is the leader resilient? We were taken through the tools on Monday. And these tools were supposed to help us, shape us, mold us, change our thinking, become leaders by having different scenarios and different ways of working through them. What if this happens? This is how I will do it. These are the resources that I will use. This is the strategy that I will use to make it through. So these four reactions all depends with your mindset. What kind of mindset do you have? How do you think that you are going to make it? It is interesting that we have to get through the psychology and we cannot avoid it. At this particular moment, I would like us to look at the 3 types of mind consciousness. And a professor in mindset said that our success helps many people, but our failure helps none. I'm sure we can all agree with this, that if you fail, nobody looks at you, nobody is waiting for you. You help nobody, but your success will be helping many people. Look at the people that you have employed, the supply chain down there. If you fail, then you'll have failed all these people. So it is important for us to wake up, smell the coffee, and start paving our way to success, because that is where we are supposed to be going. Have you ever wondered the percentage of brains a normal human being would be actively using in a day? I don't know whether you have thought about it, but according to the gurus in this field, they say that a genius uses about 10% of their brains actively. A genius uses 10% of their brains actively. So how many or what percentage do you use? So 3 types of mind consciousness. This is by Sigmund Freud. Some people talk of 2 types of mind consciousness, but I would like us to use this approach of Sigmund Freud, talking of 3 different types of consciousness. And the first one is conscious. Conscious, the one that is aware, that part of mind that is reasoning, that thinking part of the mind, the one that influences what we are doing part time, including the things we know about ourselves and our surrounding. And this part of mind is the one that we call the doorkeeper to our mindset. How you relate with your mind, conscious mind, what you accept into yourself through your eyes, through your environment, through your beliefs and your culture, determines how you are going to react. And it is the watchman at the gate to our mindset. It is the porter at the door. And it's important for us to have a bigger picture of the vision of our life if we have to get it right using the conscious mind. Then we have the subconscious mind. As we can see, it is 50% of the total part of the brains. And this subconscious mind is said to be the data bank. It is said to be the store where everything is stored. It stores your belief, it stores your previous experiences, your memories, your skills, everything you have done, everything you have seen or thought is also stored there. And this part of the brain can easily retrieve what it has from it. And as a result of that, it is a very powerful part of our mind, because it's the one that helps us to sense dangers and opportunities. And as we have seen, it all depends on what we had fed it with. So it is important for us to know that we need to feed our minds with the right things, because whatever you feed it with is what comes out. So it is the one that is going to assist you in coming out of your in awareness by bringing those memories, that small voice down there that is helping you to make that decision, that is reminding you of what you did 50 years ago. That is the subconscious mind. And Sigmund has also talked of the unconscious mind. And the unconscious mind here, he was referring to that which is out of the conscious awareness, that which you have forgotten and don't think about or don't give much into, that which is, in terms of memories, very old memories, very old thoughts, that urge that you can actually not be able to explain, you are not thinking about. And in this case, maybe I can give a simple example of our mind conscious. When you are learning to drive a car, I read somewhere that you cannot read and wake up and drive a car or even ride a bike through reading. So the first day that you practically drive a car, you are very conscious. You enter into that car and your eyes have to look at the ignition. Where do you ignite from? You even have to take care of your feet. Where are they stepping? Which one will be stepping on the accelerator? And where are the brakes? You are very conscious on this. But then, after some time, and that is why you drive at a very small speed, because you are using the conscious mind. After some time, you get used to it, you know it, you have driven, and you now know how to take a corner, you now know how to approach a bump, and the subconscious mind comes into play, whereby when you're approaching a corner, you slow down. You go through that bump very smoothly through your subconscious mind. But then after some time, you realize that you become a real driver. And at 100, speed of 100, when you have somebody in your car, you'll be driving at 100 and talking to the person. You are using the unconscious mind at this point. When you're getting into your car, you don't even need to look at where your legs are. You know that this foot should be here. It's unconscious. You unconsciously know where everything should be. Just like swimming, you're put into the swimming pool and you know how to navigate through the same, the unconscious mind. And Sigmund said that this can be looked into like an iceberg, where the conscious mind is what we reveal, very small, as compared to the subconscious or the unconscious mind. Some people call the subconscious, preconscious mind. All this is what we conceal. These are our beliefs. This is how we were brought up. Imagine if the first day you saw a dog, for example, the dog was so friendly. You will have a positive attitude towards dogs. Unlike somebody who sees a dog the first day and the dog barks at them, fell them down, did all manner of things, and even almost bit them, like my daughter who was bit the first time by a dog. At this point, gets stored in your subconscious mind, and consciously today, when you see a dog, you react differently. So let's move down and understand the mind. Mind, somebody said that as a man thinketh in his mind, so is he. Actually, it's not somebody, but the Bible. That is what the Bible says. I don't know what the other books say. But as a man thinketh in his mind, so is he. And mind is a storyteller. Mind will be telling you stories, whether you are sleeping or you are awake. There is no one time that you'll keep quiet and feel like that you're not thinking. Consciously or unconsciously, you'll be thinking. Remember, the subconscious mind is the one that is giving you dreams, that is giving you those ideas that you wake up and you say, Eureka moment has come, and you go writing down, because mind is a storyteller. And since it's a storyteller, it's upon you to know, who do you feed it with? Because what you feed it with is the story that it tells you back. Somebody said that if you want something from your mind, ask it before you sleep. Give it some homework. And when you wake up, it will have told you a good story of what you had asked it to do. The mind works 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And this makes it a very fertile ground where anything can grow into it. So which seed are you sowing? The subconscious mind, which is a very fertile ground, accepts any seed that you plant into it. Any belief, any habit that you try to get and you move on with it, the subconscious mind will always accept it as real. So it is important for us to keep sowing the right seeds and weeding away the negatives. Mind is your best friend and your worst enemy. So it's important for you to take control. It is said to be a good servant, but a bad master. Don't allow it to take control. Always be in charge. You are the driver of your life. It's important for us to understand that also mind is the one that controls our lives. So we need to change our narrative. We need to positively look at life. We need to look at it from other angles and other perspectives. And here, when I talk of life, I also talk of your business, because I'm calling it life. It is everything is life that we're looking into at this particular moment. Brain is said to be the software, while body is the hardware. And we know that software is very important in our life, and as we move on, we need to maintain our software. It should be updated as often as possible. And that is why we are also talking about our documents, life documents, ones that are updated. And the other thing that we all should take home is that subconscious mind cannot distinguish between real or imagined. It cannot be able to distinguish. When you're very annoyed and you stand in front of a mirror, and you start smiling at the mirror, your mind calms down. That does not mean that you are not annoyed, but you have simply been able to cheat, in quotes, your subconscious mind. So it is important for you to ensure that you feed it with the best. You make it clear on what you want this mind to feed on. You make it a habit to feed it with the right things. Whatever you see, whatever you read, whatever you hear, let it be right. It is the one that is going to give you value. If you don't have the right mindset, then your value will not be as you would have liked it to be. So let's consciously evolve in this crisis. We cannot change anything unless we accept it. That's a fact. Whatever you have not accepted, you remain in the past. And sooner or later you pass with it. And that is why some people who take life negatively pass with that life. We have many people with health issues because of the past. We need to accept it, we need to move on. So acknowledge the fact that I am in crisis. You've been in crisis before. I don't know whether there's anyone who has never been in a crisis. We all have businesses, we started them. So which crisis is that you were in before this? This is just COVID-19. It is one of the crises, but that does not mean that it is the only crisis you have ever faced in life. You always get out of this crisis, but the scars are real. Scars of cancellation of this particular, I call it peak season for the Kenyan sector. I don't know about Ghana, but it is peak for Kenya. We have a lot of cancellations. You have a lot of refunds to do. Yes, scars are real, but the beauty is you have always gotten out of the crisis. Crisis can either make you or break you. It's 100% your choice. What have you chosen? It is important for us to go post this traumatic time and grow, because if we stay here, nothing will come out of it. But we need to grow, we need to move on. We started our businesses, so we are the same people who can take them back again and move forward with our heads and shoulders up high. And therefore it is time to change our narrative. It is time to engage the next gear, imagining that you will emerge greater as a result of this crisis. You will not have to stay the same. Engage the next gear in your mind so that you move on to the next level. This cannot be done without self-confidence. And if you have no confidence in yourself, somebody said that, that is Marcus, said that you are twice defeated in the race of life. But with confidence, you have won even before you started. So exactly how are you going to navigate through this? What kind of confidence have you put into your life? Success is said to be equal to 20% of strategy and 80% of mindset. So can you do some maths and ask yourself, for this business of mine to succeed, is it true that I only need 20% of strategy and 80% of mindset? And the answer is, if you have a growth mindset, that will work. We have two different types of mindset. We have the fixed mindset, which is very rigid, not ready to move out. And I would encourage you to read the small book called Who Moved My Cheese, to understand the mindset, to understand change. But today I don't want to concentrate on the fixed mindset. It is good to look at growth mindset, because we have given ourselves another narrative saying that we will emerge even greater as a result of the crisis. So with that kind of narrative, we want to focus on the growth mindset. And this kind of mindset, growth mindset, will determine how you look at things. It will determine how you think towards that business, towards that new plan that you're coming up with. How are you going to make it? It will also determine how you act in the midst of all this. How do you act towards your company staff, that is the employees, the suppliers, the banks, everyone? How are you going to act? How are you behaving towards them? What is your perception towards that business? We said that we are not closing down, but we are going to make it and make it bigger and better. So what's your perception? With a growth mindset, you will be able to perceive the right things to make you get to that level that you are looking at yourself and telling yourself, this is what I want after COVID-19. And it will also help you to engage with the right people and look beyond your imperfection and your problems. Look into your inner beauty and bring out the possibilities, because you have the seed of greatness in you. And when you have the growth mindset, it will lead to succeed and flourishing. And it is important for us to remember or realize that in a crisis, just like in a storm, the fundamentals are very important. In order to navigate into the right direction, these troubled waters, you need to have the fundamentals right. And the major fundamental is to have the growth mindset with you. So what is the way out? How are we going to navigate through this water? First of all, we need to have a bigger vision of our life. For us to be able to get out, we need to have a bigger vision. That business of yours, when you started it, it was so small. It only came to be after you were. And therefore, have a bigger vision for it. How many of us have come across this sign, road sign? This is a sign telling us that we should not turn to the right. But then, what happens during crisis? During crisis, you are now looking and weighing some of these options and asking yourself, yes, there is that sign, but do I need to follow it now? Imagine your child burning in a house. What do? People are telling you should not enter, but here you are. What do? We need to think of ourselves first. And maybe I can add something about that photo, that if not doing it will do you more wrong, or it will be more negative not to do it than just do it. It is conflicting of values, but then you have no choice, you have to do it. How do we move out of this situation? We have to think of ourselves first. Angela told us a few weeks ago that in the plane, you are always told to take care of yourself first. Fix your mask before you start assisting others. And this was echoed by Michelle Obama, who says that you should always have yourself on top of your list of priorities. It is when you are afloat that you can be able to help others. So ensure that you don't give up your driver's seat. No one else should drive your life. No one else should drive that business. It is you. Think of yourself first. Your health, your mental health is what is going to help you succeed, for you to be able to help others. Remember, your failure does not help anyone else, and neither does it help you. The other thing is to sharpen your focus. And people with goals succeed because they know where they are going. You need to sharpen your soul. You need to move and look ahead. You need to look at those who have gone ahead of you. Ask for help. I thank SheTrade because they have really tried to sharpen our focus using the previous webinars during this crisis. So what are you doing for yourself? Sharpen your focus. It is important for you to start cutting expenses I know that we have taken a note of this during our previous webinars. The unworthy expenses, changing the budget that you had because things are no longer the same. Banks changing, how much interest are you paying for that loan? Is there any other bank that can give you a cheaper one? Can you switch? Cut expenses. You have been paying for that office. We are all working at home. What do? Do you still need that office? Or can you get another one after we come back? All this, as I said, it's dependent on you and the mindset that you have. The other way out is to sell or die. We cannot afford to keep quiet because there's no tourism. Whether we are affected or infected, there is no way we are going to keep quiet. And therefore we have and we must ensure that we sell. We can not stop communicating to our clients. We have to keep telling them of what we have. We have to keep telling them, we are here. We have not gone anywhere. We are still waiting for you. So let's keep safe to travel tomorrow should be our communication to the customers. The other way out is to hold on the cash and to try and generate more. At this point, what are you doing with yourself? Yes, we might say that generating more might not happen, but even saving more will help you hold on to whatever you have. So you have to change so many things for you to stay, by adding your value, by ensuring that you don't stay the same. Then it's important for you to part with some people. You cannot afford to stay with everyone. Crisis time is when we know who we are going to part with. Your employees, you have those who are doing more than asked. You are those who do what you have asked for, and you have those who do less than you have asked for. So whom are you parting with? Because we need to redefine our businesses. We need to reconstruct our businesses and our business models. And then the other one is to eliminate waste from business and yourself. The Japanese call it muda, where you get rid of whichever waste that you have. No waste of time, no wasting of processes, networks. Which kind of subscriptions do you have that are going to waste you? Some more strategies, we can look back, step back and look at the bigger picture. Focus on what you can control. What you cannot control, leave it. COVID-19, you have no control of it. But then, because you are already getting information, let your mind learn to differentiate between information, the right one, what will help you and what will not help you. Make use of informed choices. Then get a mindset that minimizes fear, because fear is what is killing many, and our businesses will not die out of fear. We need to wake up and have that mindset. We are strong women. That is why we have reached where we are. It's important for us to have a flexible game plan. We cannot run away from it. And that is why the training of the toolkit that was launched in the beginning of the week comes in handy to help us have a flexible game plan. It is also important for us to start practicing self-compassion with the help of happiness habits, because we are the ones who are going to make our lives. We need to ensure that we are there. We have taken care of ourselves first, having self-compassion. Be happy with yourself, no matter what. No one else is coming to make it for you. And in conclusion, as Mahatma Gandhi said, your belief becomes your thoughts becomes your words becomes your actions will become your habits will become your values, and your values will become your destiny. Therefore, it is important for you to take care of your mind, have the correct mindset for your business. Without that, you will not make it. But it is my belief that us as she trade women, we will make it because we are going to engage the right gear and move towards the right direction with the right mindset. And with that, I want to say thank you and give it back to Caroline, and also encourage you to ask questions. Thank you, Caroline. Take care.
Thank you so much, Mary. You really unpacked a lot for us regarding the conscious mind, subconsciousness, and the importance of having the right attitude, especially in guiding ourselves out of a crisis. So I want to open up the floor for questions. So anyone who has a question, you can unmute yourself or type in the chat option below. Okay, then I have a question for you, Mary. I know it's important to have the right mindset, but for instance, how to get there, especially in terms of having that encouragement. Do you have any tips, for example, on getting to be encouraged in order to get to the right mindset?
Yeah, I hope you can all hear me. Thank you, Caroline. That has been a question to many. And we all know that we come from different backgrounds. We have different faiths, we have different beliefs, we have different networks. And one of the things that can help you get the right mindset is your network. Whom are you surrounding yourself with? They always say that you are like 5 of your friends. If you're not surrounded by the right people, and if you're not surrounding yourself with the right people, then you will soon find yourself derailing and getting into whatever they have or they believe. That is why you need to have your own values. You need to come up with your own choices. As we said, you are free to make your choices. So it is important for you to surround yourself with the right people. Again, reading the right books, attending the right forums, sharpening and resharpening your soul. That is critical. If you don't sharpen your focus with all these that we've been given by SheTrade, the webinars that have been taking place, then you're in the wrong forum and your mindset might not be able to change, and meaning that your success is doomed. Thank you, Caroline. I hope I have responded.
Thank you so much, Mary. Yes, you have. Would anyone like to ask Mary a question?
Mary, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, Mary, this is Faith. Thank you very much for your inspiring presentation. So a lot of people are going around telling us, oh, you now need to think outside the box and come up with other trades perhaps that are not related to tourism. But tourism is all that we know. We've done it for over 30 years, So it's, and some of us are not very young. So we get a little bit confused because what else is out there that is not, that is not tourism related? for the time being, because, life must go on, and we must, make a living as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith, for your question. And it is true that some of us, our ages cannot make us go back. And as I said, we don't want to lose anyone from this boat. I want us to cross over together. And how do we cross over together? We need to be innovative. We need to change our way of doing things. We need to look out of the box as you have put it. And looking out of the box, we are talking of the opportunities that are around us. We've been told again and again about domestic, about regional, about coming up with new products. So re-engineering will be critical at this particular moment. Rebooting our confidence will also be key. It's also important for us to ensure that we keep afloat by moving from the normal to the abnormal. Things have changed. So what products were you dealing with? How are you going to start dealing with your product, your customers, your supply chain? What is that you need to change? And this only comes if you have living documents that are changing and rechanging. This is not our time to go back there and just hold our hands. It is time to go out and think, how am I going to do it differently? I thank God that all of us started a business once, and therefore what that means is that you have seen all that have taken place until where you are now. You are starting again. So you will not be able to, or you should not go through that hard path. You have already ensured that you have what it takes, and therefore moving in the right direction will be the thing to go. Sorry,
Thanks,
I
Mary.
hope I have answered your question, Faith.
Yes, thank you very much, Mary.
The webinar is open for more questions. Phyllis, I see you unmuted. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks for that. Thank you, Mary, for a great presentation. I just want to chime in and add on to what Mary has said in response to Faith's question. If you think about any depression, the World War, some people came out happier and others came out completely devastated and others never came out. So I think basically what we're doing with these sessions is to give you a lot of information, good information that can help you come up with some form of strategy, some form of handles that can steer you through this season. And literally the whole world is there. To your question, Faith, it's a very interesting question. I hear what you're saying, that this is what you know to do. And actually we perhaps would not recommend you trying out, like you're in tourism and then you decide to go into rocket science. It's a completely different ball game. And you already are highly skilled. You already have a lot of experience. You have great advantage in this sector. Now, just like I said before, every depression, if you just study history, some people came out better. But it's, I would like to imagine that it's not necessarily with it, that now you start doing what? Bitcoin. Because there are people in Bitcoin who were there before. They were doing Bitcoin before. This opportunity came out, this crisis happened, and then they became even better. So for you to compete with the ones who are already there is a bit of a challenge. However, as you look at what could happen in tourism, I've really been thinking about tourism. What could happen in tourism going forward? And there are some channels I listen to concerning tourism. There's one lady who, they're currently saying 51% of Africa is now open to African travelers. Before it was 24%, but now border restrictions have eased. Now those are that's the content to now beef yourself up with. It may not be the moment now to actually do, but beef yourself up with content, which is what we've done in the previous session. Then, because you probably need to put food, maybe what you are asking is to put food on the table right now. That short term, anything, you know, people are taking their Mercedes-Benz and going to Thika Road Highway. And we clap for them. We say, thank you for that resilience. Thank you for changing your mindset. Why? Because why sit with a Mercedes in the house and food in the garden, and yet you can sell it and put food on the table, you know, and put something extra on the table. So that is short term. So as you're going through this season, remember there's what is short term, which is survival, and it is acceptable. But not necessarily those, don't go into those highly skilled, you know, selling vegetables, selling eggs on the street. Trading is something one can think of in the meantime. But in the long term, don't forget there are massive opportunities that are opening up in tourism. They are regional, they are African, they are local. And I know we've covered that a lot with Angela here. And so I hope I've just put in a little more light into what you could do. Yes, in the meantime, you know, you can't be very, yes, there's strategy, but when there's a quote that says, and I'm not saying we're dying, but it says a dying man clutches at a straw. I mean, a drowning man at a straw. And maybe the fact that he's clutched on the straw, if the straw saves him, we'll say, phew, now he can live to do tourism again. So we'll not say, look, she started selling eggs and she's in tourism, like she's skilled in selling eggs. No, go ahead and sell the eggs. But usually it's a stopgap measure, but don't lose your eye on what is the strategic, you know, gift that you have, because it's really a gift. I mean, I wouldn't do tourism because I don't know how to do it. But when it comes to other things like training, consults, that I'll do very well. Okay. And then now we can partner in the different aspects. Another thing you could do is to perhaps partner with somebody who needs your skill in a business that is working right now. Okay. Like essential services. What could that be? What does it look like? You know, you could partner with someone, maybe if partnerships are really difficult, I must warn you, but if it's possible for you to partner with someone, then that would also be something to do in the stopgap. But it's not the thing that will last you out in the long term. I hope that's clear.
Thank you, Phyllis, and that's a good advice. There are so many things that we can do, but we should not lose our focus just because we have seen a squirrel somewhere. Our eyes were on the deer. Let's ensure that we get it and we are not derailed. There are so many things that we can do, and Phyllis has just given examples. So many things are in your house that you don't use, that you have never used. Others that I look at and I wonder, did I really buy these? So decluttering is also one of them. I'm sorry, it's raining here. Decluttering is also one of them to help you get, at least put food on the table as you're thinking of this, but then don't lose your focus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary and Phyllis. Does anyone else have any questions? Or comments or recommendations?
Caroline, if no one has a question, I would like to say that we need to overcome that little voice that keeps whispering to us, that keeps putting fear on us. It is a high time that we start standing in the gap and telling it no. You are the commander of your life, and you are the only one who can be able to stop it. And by practice, we can be able to stop that. I know that to some people, if you have not practiced something, it would be very hard for you to get. But if we learn to stop the small voice, if we increase our self-confidence, if we work out on our own selves, then we can make it, because we are, whatever COVID is, it is just on the way. It is not in the way. And therefore, hook or crook, we must make it. And fear is not an option in this game. We have to leave it out of this. And that is why even when Phyllis is talking about selling eggs and selling wherever. That can only come when you have put your fear down. So stop looking at people or look at yourself. We have said that you're the most important in the whole list. You're the priority. Sit in the driver's seat and work on it positively. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary, for the encouragement and the tips on how we can plan for the future and what we need to do. So I think I'm going to conclude the webinar now as there are no more questions. I'm going to stop the recording and then say goodbye.